The toy aisle was loud with color but quiet with truth, and it hit him like a punch to the chest when a small voice broke through the artificial cheer of blinking lights and plastic laughter. In that single moment, standing between shelves stacked with dreams that beeped and sang, a powerful man who controlled boardrooms, billion-dollar deals, and thousands of lives felt utterly unprepared for what a child's simple wish would awaken inside him. That was the moment everything began to change, long before he understood why. Before the story unfolds any further, if you believe that kindness still matters, that second chances can rewrite broken lives, and that small moments can change destinies, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. He had come to the store late, after another endless day of meetings that drained him more than they fulfilled him. As a single father and CEO, his life had become a constant balancing act between being present and being powerful, between nurturing a child and leading an empire. The success everyone envied came at the cost of silence in his home and exhaustion in his soul. His son had asked for a toy for his birthday, something simple, something joyful, and the request lingered in his mind like a reminder of all the moments he had already missed. Walking through the aisle, he told himself this errand mattered, that this one act could somehow make up for late nights and unanswered questions. That was when he noticed the girl. She was small, maybe 7 or 8, standing barefoot in worn sneakers that had outgrown their purpose. Her dress was clean but thin, the kind chosen for necessity rather than warmth. She clutched a toy box gently, not with excitement, but with hesitation, as if holding it too tightly might shatter the hope inside. Her hair was neatly tied back, not because someone had time, but because someone had tried. There was something heavy behind her eyes, something far older than her years, and it made him slow his steps without realizing why. She looked up at him with a seriousness that felt misplaced in a place built for play. Her words did not come with begging or expectation, but with quiet resignation. She believed wishes did not work because life had already taught her that lesson. Her mother had told her so, not out of cruelty, but out of exhaustion, the kind that settles into bones when disappointment becomes routine. The girl was not asking for money or a toy, she was asking if hope itself was broken, if there was any point in believing at all. The question struck him deeper than any negotiation ever had. He saw his own child's face flash in his mind, not asking for toys, but asking why his father was always tired, always busy, always promising tomorrow. He saw himself reflected in the girl's uncertainty, because once, long ago, he too had believed wishes were foolish things people clung to when reality failed them. He had grown up with very little, raised by parents who worked endlessly and still fell short. Dreams, he learned early, were dangerous because they made failure hurt more. The girl explained her world without bitterness. Her mother worked 2 jobs and still worried every night. Bills came faster than paychecks, and wishes had become luxuries they could not afford. Toys were for looking, not for holding. Birthdays passed quietly, and hope was rationed carefully so it would not run out. The toy in her hands was not extravagant, but it represented something bigger than plastic. It represented belief. He listened, truly listened, and something inside him shifted. He had spent years building a company on innovation, motivation, and vision, yet here stood a child who had never been allowed to imagine freely. He felt ashamed of how often he dismissed small moments as insignificant when this one carried more weight than his last board meeting. He did not make a grand gesture or draw attention. Instead, he crouched slightly to meet her eye level, offering presence rather than authority. He explained, not with promises, but with honesty, that wishes were not magic spells but sparks. Some sparks died quickly, but others caught fire when someone chose to protect them. He told her that believing did not guarantee happiness, but it made space for it. The girl absorbed his words carefully, as if testing them for truth. She did not smile right away. Years of disappointment had taught her caution. Still, there was a softening in her shoulders, a subtle release of tension, as if she had been holding her breath for a very long time. He saw hope flicker, fragile but real. What happened next was simple but profound. He paid for the toy and placed it gently into her hands, not as charity but as confirmation. He told her it was not proof that wishes worked, but proof that people could. He also left something else behind, something she would not understand until much later. The idea that her worth was not measured by what she could afford, but by what she believed she deserved. As she walked away, clutching the toy like a promise, he remained frozen in the aisle. Something had cracked open inside him, something he had sealed off years ago in the name of survival. He realized how often he had told himself that working harder was the same as loving better, that providing was enough. But the girl's question echoed louder than his phone ever had. That night, he returned home and watched his son sleep, the rise and fall of his chest grounding him in a way no success ever had. He wondered what quiet disappointments his child carried, what wishes he might be learning not to make. For the first time in years, he turned off his laptop early. The emails could wait. Childhood could not. Days passed, but the encounter did not fade. He found himself looking at the world differently. At work, he noticed the tired eyes of employees who smiled out of obligation. He began asking questions he had never asked before, listening instead of directing. He initiated changes that prioritized people over profits, not because it was good for branding, but because it was good for souls. Weeks later, a letter arrived at his office. It was written in careful handwriting, each letter deliberate. The girl's mother thanked him, not just for the toy, but for the shift it created. Her daughter slept with it every night, not because it was special, but because it reminded her that someone believed she mattered. The mother wrote that she had started wishing again too, cautiously, quietly, but sincerely. The CEO read the letter alone, tears blurring the words. He had not intended to change lives. He had only answered a question honestly. Yet that honesty had rippled outward in ways he could not control or predict. He realized then that power was not about influence or wealth, but about impact. The smallest actions could carry the greatest weight. From that day on, he made a promise to himself. He would not let his child grow up believing wishes did not work. He would show him through actions that kindness was not naive, that hope was not weak, and that even in a world that disappointed often, goodness could still surprise. Years later, long after toys had been outgrown and titles had changed, the memory of that aisle remained vivid. It was the place where a man rediscovered his humanity and a girl reclaimed her right to dream. It was where two broken perspectives met and healed each other without even realizing it.